The following video is based solely on my opinion and my views only, and does not reflect the opinions of any governing body in combat sports. With that being said, welcome to the inaugural edition of the Fight Universe. I am your host, David LaValle, and with me will be my assistant. Come on out, Noah.
Hi, audience. Hi, I'm Noah.
Possible dream matchups from fighters from different eras. Now, us are going to be fights that really have no chance of ever happening. That's why they call it a fantasy. I'm going to take two fighters. I'm going to match them up. I'm going to discuss their strengths, their weaknesses, their styles. And then I'm going to see how they would match up, and I'm going to give my honest take of who I think would win. With that being said, let's get started. The first fight I'm going to discuss, because I'm going to do two fights on this inaugural video. The first fight I'm going to discuss is Evander Holyfield versus Muhammad Ali. Now, Muhammad Ali, general consensus, is considered the greatest fighter of all time. And Evander Holyfield is probably considered the greatest of his generation by many. You got Muhammad Ali, whose speed was absolutely off the chain. It was on full display during his initial title reign. I mean, look at some of the fighters he's beaten. I mean, Sonny Liston, George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Ron Lyle, Ken Norton, who's who, a murderer's row of fighters that this man has beat. Out of that, with his showboating that he was oh so known to do, he would often catch some unnecessary punches. Like when he fought Joe Frazier the first time, or when he fought Larry Holmes. Not that he did a whole lot of showboating in that fight. I think that was a problem of his. Whereas Evander Holyfield, he was just durable. He had relentless combinations. All right. I mean, this is a man who worked his way into the pocket and was able to stand there and take some of George Foreman's best shots. All right. A man who, to this day, Holyfield still says nobody hit him harder than Foreman did. To this day. And he was able to withstand that kind of power in his prime. All right. This is also a man who beat Mike Tyson when a lot of people didn't give Tyson a shot. I'm sorry, they didn't give Evander Holyfield a shot. Folks, please bear with me if I tend to kind of jump around a little bit. This is my first go at this, so I'm just going to ask you to bear with me. I'm not an expert or anything like that. I'm just a huge fan of the fight game. I digress. Personally, I think if Holyfield can really pressure Ali and really catch him with some of those relentless combinations, then I think Holyfield has a chance. Because they say everyone's got a puncher's chance. But honestly and realistically, I think Ali's speed would be just a little too much for Holyfield to be able to handle. So I give this fight to Muhammad Ali by a close unanimous decision. It's a close fight, but it's a unanimous decision for Muhammad Ali. Now, the next battle I'm going to talk about is one that I've personally never heard. But I'm sure the talk is out there, and I'm sure there's a lot of people, myself included, who would have loved to have seen it. Is Randy Couture versus John Jones. Now, a lot of people consider John Jones to be the greatest fighter in mixed martial arts history. And understandably so. The only blemish on the man's record was a disqualification loss that he was dominating. So, it's understandable that people would consider Jon Jones. I mean, you don't have that kind of dominance and not be in that conversation. But he wouldn't be the first dominant fighter that Randy Couture has humbled. I mean, this is a man, we're talking about a man who ragdolled Tim Sylvia. All right. One of the only men that I've ever seen take down Chuck Liddell and keep him down. All right. So, if anyone could humble Jon Jones, I think it's Randy Couture. Now, with that being said, Randy often struggled against bigger grapplers, i.e., Nogueira or Josh Barnett. You know, guys like that. Bigger guys with with proficient grappling experience often gave Randy headaches. All right. I think if Jon Jones can keep Randy on the outside, really utilize his reach, because he's not bad, because Jon Jones doesn't have bad stand-up. He does. But he often found himself getting in trouble in the stand-up. You know, a flaw that I had to work very hard to find. I mean, Machida gave problems to Jon Jones. You could argue that Alexander Gustafsson beat Jon Jones. Personally, I give a razor-thin split decision win to Randy. I think his experience is just too much for Jon Jones to handle. His experience and his grit. I could see Randy working his way inside, you know, really utilizing his underrated boxing, because it is underrated. He is a good boxer. He boxed in the Army. So, but he's so known as such a grappler and such a phenomenal wrestler that it often gets overshadowed. So I see Randy really utilizing his dirty boxing and being able to take down Jon Jones. I give the fight to Randy Couture by split decision. So there you have it, folks. I've got Randy Couture beating Jon Jones by split decision, and I've got Muhammad Ali beating Evander Holyfield by unanimous decisions in two absolute battles for the ages. So there you have it. Again, I'm your host, David LaValle, and this show has been brought to you by Rosie's Random Treasures, run by my beautiful wife, Rosie. All you gotta do is hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below, positive or negative, I'm fine, as long as it's not inappropriate. I'm fine with constructive criticism. If you don't like what you see, please let me know. And if you like what you see, I'll keep doing what I'm doing. With that being said, I'm David LaValle, signing off.